Hi everybody, my name is Jenna Kimmel and I'm a parish member here at St. Greg's and also a member of our St. Vincent de Paul Society. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about serving the poor and especially about the work of our St. Vincent de Paul Society here at St. Greg's. But to help us, I'm going to start with a little story. Once upon a time, a long time ago, a really long time ago, almost 400 years ago, there was a young priest named Vincent who lived in France, and he was especially devoted to serving the poor. He also had an amazing talent for preaching, and so he would go around areas in France preaching missions to people and teaching them. And after a while, people really started to follow him. They liked listening to him, and he became a trusted spiritual guide to many important and wealthy people. Because of their respect for Vincent, he was able to convince them to support his work with the poor by giving him money. He started a religious order for women called the Daughters of Charity, and they lived and worked together in Paris to help the poor. When he died in the year 1660, he was already a bit of a legend in France and was quickly named a saint. Fast forward about 170 years, another young man named Frederick Ozanam had just left home to start college in Paris. While he was in school, he got involved in a debate club. At one of their meetings, another student challenged Frederick and the other young Catholics about what they were doing to bring about change in the world. He admitted the Catholic Church had done a lot of good in the past, but he said to Frederick, "What about you? Show me your works." Well, Frederick really had no answer. So he called a meeting of 5 of his friends, and they decided to start a club to help the poor. But he and his friends weren't really sure how to go about this. Frederick did know about the Daughters of Charity, that religious group of sisters that Vincent de Paul had founded so many years ago. So he went to see a woman named Sister Rosalie Rendu. Sister Rosalie taught Frederick and his friends the art of helping the poor and the sick. She took them to houses in Paris where there were people in great need. And that's how Frederick and his friends started serving the poor. In a short time, they decided to name their society the Society of St. Vincent de Paul in honor of the legendary saint of France. That was back in 1833. Today, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul is found in over 150 countries all over the world and has over 800,000 members whose work is to help the poor. Some of those members are right here at St. Greg's. Great story, right? You might be wondering, what does this have to do with me? Well, I really firmly believe that holy men and women who lived before us always have something to teach us about following Jesus today. We have a painting right behind me of these 3 special people that I just talked about to honor them. And I think maybe this painting can help us learn something more from Vincent, Frederick, and Rosalie about serving the poor. So let's take a closer look. So you've probably already figured out that the 3 figures in this painting are Vincent de Paul, Frederick Ozanam, and Sister Rosalie Rendu. The center figure in this painting is St. Vincent de Paul. He's holding a loaf of bread. When I see Vincent in this icon, it reminds me Vincent had a way of helping other people see the needs of the poor, and he was so great at encouraging people to share what they could. I wonder if Vincent met you today, what would he ask you? What do you have an abundance of? For some of us, maybe it's money or food or clothes, but not everyone has that. Maybe you have an abundance of kindness. So when someone makes a mistake, you don't point at them and laugh. Maybe you tell them it's okay. Or maybe you have an abundance of patience or are very hardworking. All of those gifts are needed in our world. So Vincent teaches us that the gifts we have, we are given to share. I also think that's why he has a little bit of a sly smile in this painting. He knows that you have something that you could share. The figure in the back is Frederick Ozanam. Remember, he was a student. He reminds me to never doubt that one person can change the world. Frederick got an idea to start a club to help the poor, and look what happened. And more importantly, don't ever think that you are too young to make a difference. Frederick was a 20-year-old college student when he started the St. Vincent de Paul Society. So Frederick teaches us today that young people can change the world. Don't be afraid to try. And you don't have to travel around the world to do this. You can start right in your own community. The other figure in our painting is Sister Rosalie Rendu. She might not be as well known as Vincent or Frederick, but Frederick never would have been successful without her. She reminds me that none of us is as great as all of us can be when we work together. Remember, Frederick went to her to ask for her help. He had great ideas, but she knew what to do. Sister Rosalie reminds us we cannot do this alone. It takes all of us working together. These are big lessons, and they take a lifetime to put into action. But there's one bigger question that I really haven't answered yet, and that's why. Why does this matter? Why is paying attention to the poor so important for us as Catholics? It matters because it's what Jesus did and what Jesus taught. In the Gospel of Matthew, right before Jesus was arrested, Jesus tells a story about how our actions will be judged at the end of time. He said, "When I was hungry, you fed me, and when I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. When I was homeless, you gave me a room. When I was shivering, you gave me clothes. If I was sick, you stopped to visit, and when I was in prison, you came to me." But you know, the disciples didn't think they had ever seen Jesus hungry or thirsty or in need. But Jesus told them that whenever they did one of these things to someone overlooked or ignored, that was him, that they were doing it for him. So thanks for listening to my story about St. Vincent de Paul, Frederick Ozanam, and Sister Rosalie Rendu. I hope that you will keep thinking about what they can teach you about serving the poor. And next time you're in church, come and find their special painting. Up next, you'll get to make 2 members of our own St. Vincent de Paul Society here at St. Greg's. God bless you.
Love for the poor is at the center of Jesus' Gospels. Matthew's Beatitudes state, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Jesus also says, "Amen, I say to you, whatever you did for one of these least brothers of mine, you did for me." One cannot escape the importance of justice for the poor in Jesus' mind. In Milwaukee and all over the world, we cannot escape the face of the poor. Those who are among the poor are objects of a preferred love by our church. We are called to imitate Christ's love for the poor by helping to create a society where the needs of the poor are always considered first. This is just a part of what social justice means. As members of the St. Vincent de Paul Society, my husband John and I try to practice this love every day. We have given a combined total of over 25 years working along with others to help the poor. Giving back to God is a wonderful way to help others have stronger, better lives. We are called Vincentians, and as Vincentians, here at St. Greg's, we help to operate a food pantry for the less fortunate. This involves shopping for food, helping to keep the food shelves in order, volunteering at the pantry, and sometimes delivering food.
Before the COVID virus outbreak, we would visit our needy neighbors at their homes. Now time is spent talking with each other on the phone instead. We talk with our neighbors about their needs and try to help them work through emergencies. This might include help with the electric bill, telephone bills, heating bills, or rent or mortgage payments. Maybe they need help with clothing for the family or household goods, such as furniture or dishes or pots and pans. St. Vincent de Paul runs a store where all these things are available. We can provide a voucher, which is another way of paying for those things. If someone has lost their job and needs help with transportation to find work, we can help with bus cards or possibly gas for their car, if they are fortunate to have one. Transportation can also help with getting to the doctor and dentist appointments. Persons may find themselves losing the place where they live. Maybe they missed a rent payment, Maybe their apartment building was sold. Maybe they are accused of doing something bad that they didn't do. Often the situation was not fair, and we can help them find people, maybe lawyers, who can help them to stay where they are.
But we often find that listening and caring and praying is the most important thing of all. We all need to be loved and cared for. That's what Jesus and the church ask us to do.
Our St. Vincent de Paul food pantry is open 2 Saturday mornings each month to serve our neighbors in need. Due to COVID-19, we are offering curbside pickup at this time. For more information, please contact our parish office at 543-8292.